When I became an attorney in 1960, there was no office of either the public defender to do criminal work for the indigent or a legal service office to do work, civil work for indigent people. As you heard from the video, that changed somewhere around 1967 in both contexts. The Public Defenders Act was enacted in 1967, and at about the same time, President Lyndon B. Johnson started the program identified as the War on Poverty. Prior to then, free legal services for civil litigants had been provided by the various county bar association and through judicial assignments, and they were pretty few and far in between. But in and about 1967, I helped to form one of the earliest legal services providers, and that was the Union County Legal Services Corporation. And we were very fortunate at that time, as we are today in many contexts, to have had a good corporate citizen that was willing to lend us a lawyer in his corporate department, executive attorney, to be the first executive director of the legal services in Union County. And I was privileged to have served on that board, and I supported legal services then, and 50 years or more, I still do and will continue. Legal services was largely funded initially, as you've heard, by the federal government. But it didn't take long before that public funding was nearly or being exhausted, and that required efforts to be made in New Jersey to create some private funding. So Chief Justice Willents was able to persuade the New Jersey Supreme Court to start the IALTA fund that has waned up and down from time to time, but it has provided and hopefully will continue to provide a source of revenue, particularly in the times when our state government finds reasons to reduce the funding for legal services. At this point, I would like to also thank all of the people who have contributed in so many different ways to rendering services to legal services and the legal service community. I include in that group all of the attorneys who have been participating through their law firms, financially and otherwise, as well as those attorneys who have been providing pro bono services, because as you may suspect, legal services with its limited budget will not be able to provide all of the services needed in New Jersey. That brings me to my final assignment, and that is the introduction of our current Chief Justice Rabner. Chief Justice Rabner is the 8th Chief Justice in New Jersey under the 1947 Constitution. I've been privileged to have served on the court with or under 6 of those 8. And based on some of the work that I've been doing, based on assignment from our current Chief Justice, I'm privileged to say I've served under 7 of the 8. If you are thinking that makes me an old person, you would be right. Chief Justice Rabner has had a distinguished career before being appointed to the most distinguished and premier Supreme Court in the nation, the New Jersey Supreme Court. He attended the Harvard Law School, where he has indicated on one or more public occasions that some of his professors will tell the students in class that if you're looking for a jurisdiction that is likely to provide some of the answers to some of the issues we've been discussing, take a look at New Jersey. And that was occurring as recently as 1993, when a New York Times article said the same thing about our wonderful court. Chief Justice Rabner has served as an assistant or in the U.S. Attorney's Office as an assistant U.S. attorney. Then he became the Attorney General in New Jersey. And I'll stop there because he has done such marvelous things as Chief Justice. I welcome and will now hear from the Chief.